His inexperience in making secret deals in the back rooms of power.
Not negotiating behind closed doors, but bringing all parties together and broadcasting those negotiations on C-SPAN so that the American people can see what the choices are.
Obama Democratic leaders have decided to bypass a formal House and Senate conference committee in order to reconcile those two health care bills. Instead, White House and Democratic leaders will hold informal, that's another word for secret, negotiations, meant to shut Republicans and the public out of the process.
We will not take a dime from Washington lobbyists or special interest PACs. We're going to change how Washington works. They will not fund my party. They will not run our White House, and they will not drown out the voices of the American people when I'm President of the United States of America.
And no official record of who met with whom, because meeting at the coffee shop gets around the president's promise to list each and every lobbyist who visits the White House.
That's why I don't take money from these folks, because my attitude is they will not fund my campaigns.
But today's New York Times account details at least 15 examples of Obama bundlers, supporters who promise to raise giant amounts for their campaign, who are involved in or who oversee major lobbying efforts, but who are not themselves registered with Congress as lobbyists.
His inexperience and the arrogance that led to the destruction of America's international stature.
You know the story. Tim Geithner goes over there and they laugh at him. They're laughing at the U.S. dollar. They want to end its world reserve currency. Here's Mr. Geithner, the Treasury Secretary, being laughed at in China.
I want to just emphasize that the U.S. is a very open economy.
Iranian forces have shot down an American unmanned drone in the east of the country. That's according to Iran's state news agency. The aircraft used for spying was reportedly downed with minimum damage and seized by Iranian authorities.
We have asked for it back. We'll see how the Iranians respond.
The return of the real item seems a long way off, so these models, which have unsurprisingly become a bit of a hit in Iran, are likely to be the best the US is going to get.
That they are not to develop a nuclear weapon.
Iran announces more nuclear progress as tensions rise after a series of attacks.
You said that if the President of the United States had launched an attack on Iran without congressional approval, that would have been an impeachable offense. Do you want to review that comment you made? Well, how do you stand on that now?
Yes, I do. I want to stand by that comment I made. The reason I made the comment was as a warning. The reason I don't say those things lightly, Chris. You've known me for a long time.
I want to stress, however, that this is just the first phase of what will likely be a multi-phase military operation designed to enforce the United Nations resolution and deny the Libyan regime the ability to use force against its own people.
It is critically important that the United States and China develop a strong working relationship.
That's what happens when you get behind in the rent. The landlord shows up, starts looking around.
The Iranians have also threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow opening to the Persian Gulf that tankers use to carry about 20% of the world's oil.
His inexperience and the greed that cravenly sold our booming economy to special interests while leaving millions of our friends and neighbors in poverty.
I'm sure that when you implemented the Recovery Act, your staff briefed you on many of the challenges of the permitting process and the impact on putting Americans back to work. And that's exactly what we see in American business as well.
Shovel-ready was not as shovel-ready as we expected.
Saying by the end of your first term, you're going to reduce the deficit by half.
And that's why today I'm pledging to cut the deficit we inherited by half by the end of my first term in office.
We're not there.
Well, we're not there because this recession turned out to be a lot deeper than any of us realized. 2 years ago, I warned that because of the subprime lending mess, because of the lax regulation, that we were potentially going to have a problem and tried to stop some of the abuses and mortgages that were taking place at the time. Last year, I wrote to the Secretary of the Treasury to make sure that he understood the magnitude of this problem and to call on him to bring all the stakeholders together to try to deal with it. I had been cast, but a lot of us didn't understand at that point how bad it was going to get.
You know, that's the kind of inexperience I could get used to.